The ocean in Finding Nemo is not just visually vast, it is structurally unpredictable. Creatures appear and disappear without warning. Currents move bodies across enormous distances, and the difference between survival and death can hinge on a moment's hesitation. The environment constantly reminds its inhabitants that they are exposed to forces they cannot control. The philosopher Thomas Hobbes believed that a world defined by that kind of vulnerability would shape how rational creatures behave toward one another. Hobbes argued that when individuals know others possess the ability to harm them, trust becomes extremely difficult to justify. Even if someone appears harmless, the possibility of betrayal always remains. Under those conditions, people often attempt to secure themselves by limiting contact, controlling their surroundings, or striking first before someone else has the chance. Marlin's behavior early in the film reflects exactly that logic. His protective instincts are usually treated as overreaction, but his reasoning is internally consistent. The reef represents a controlled environment where most threats are known and manageable. Allowing Nemo to move beyond that boundary introduces uncertainty, and uncertainty in Hobbes' framework is precisely what generates fear. Journey across the ocean gradually exposes the limits of that strategy. Isolation cannot actually remove vulnerability because the environment itself remains unstable. Marlin discovers that surviving outside the reef requires interactions with strangers who are just as exposed to danger as he is. One moment captures that shift particularly well.
Let us all say the pledge. I am a nice shark, not a mindless eating machine. If I am to change this image, I must first change myself. Fish are friends, not food.
This scene is comedic, but its structure is also philosophically revealing. Predators gather to announce a rule that restrains their own natural behavior. Hobbes believed that rules like this arise when individuals recognize that unrestrained competition makes life intolerably dangerous for everyone involved. The rule does not eliminate the underlying threat. The sharks remain predators. What it creates is a fragile attempt to stabilize interactions within a dangerous environment. Marlin's encounters with other creatures repeatedly test the possibility of that kind of trust. Dory, the turtles, and even temporary companions offer assistance that cannot be guaranteed in advance. Each interaction requires Marlin to risk relying on someone he cannot fully predict. Hobbes' political theory ultimately revolves around that same problem. Stable cooperation requires more than shared fear. It requires some mechanism that convinces individuals that others will also restrain themselves. Without that assurance, the rational choice is often continued suspicion. Finding Nemo never completely solves that dilemma. The ocean remains unpredictable and dangerous until the end of the film. What changes is Marlin's willingness to accept that life in such a world requires a certain degree of trust in others who share the same vulnerability. The film therefore reframes courage in a subtle way. Courage is not simply the ability to face physical danger, it is the willingness to rely on others even when